Hello, America. I promised to talk a little bit about my Cross Cut Sled for my table saw. So this is it. And this is a good example of what a Cross Cut Sled is for. So right here, I have my dado stack on my table saw. This is cutting at a 1/4 inch diameter, and I have it set at 1.25 inches tall. So this is 2 boards. I'm cutting at the same time to make sure I have a matching pair. That's what the painter's tape is for. And you can see I did a groove right down the middle. It made a nice little slot at the height I wanted. I did purposely go a little bit above the line because I'm trying a type of joinery, and I didn't actually want it to be too short and then collide. So I don't think it'll matter if I'm a little bit over. I kind of wanted that little flexibility there. So we'll see. But I purposely went a little bit over my measurement line. But you can see I just have the piece clamped here, so that keeps it nice secure to the backboard, and that way I don't have to hold it or move it when the saw is doing its work. And the other cool feature here is what is called a zero clearance insert. So this is a 1/2 inch stack, sorry, a 1/4 inch stack, and I just made this piece. This is an insert that goes all the way through, and then you just cut it through with your blades. You can see there's a very little gap on either side of the blade. What zero clearance gets you is less tear out. That's when the saw hits the piece of your wood and there's nothing to support the wood underneath, and it tears out the bottom. So getting as close to the saw blade as you can really helps minimize tear out, and it ends up with a finer, cleaner looking piece. So you can see I have screw holes here, and these inserts are removable. So instead of ruining or tearing up my crosscut sled, if I'm doing 1/2 inch, inch long cuts, things at a miter angle, obviously take more. If you're cutting at a 45 or more angle, you're going to tear out more of your backing board. That's why if you look at stock table saws, or any saw really, the inserts are very wide because they have to accommodate a variety of blade sizes and angles. But you end up with a lot of tear out, so it's a trade-off. So if you make or buy inserts, you can see here, I have a couple other ones. But this is my you can't really tell if they're installed, but you can tell they're kind of different widths. This is a 1/8 inch, which is your standard saw blade kerf, the diameter of your saw blade. And this is my 1/2 inch here. I have them all labeled. So I usually keep my 1/4 inch in there, sorry, my 1/8 of an inch in there. And then I had a 1/2 inch for something I did a while ago. And then I just kind of made this one right here now. And then eventually what I'll do, I have one more, because I was making them, I made them in batches. And then I just, whatever angle or width I'm doing, I just kind of convert it. And I figure 1/4 inch is kind of standard, so I didn't mind having one for that. I have one left over if I need to do a weird angle with a crosscut sled or a different size. I can always make more inserts, but I just make it once, and then I label it, then I save it, and then I can swap those out. So I've never done a 1/4 inch with a crosscut sled before, so I just did that just now. And you just cut straight through the piece, and it's exactly the width of your saw blade. Which is pretty cool. But back to this project here. So now what I can do is just remove this and show this off. So yeah, I'm gonna make 2 more like that and just move it over, line it up, and clamp it down. But that's a really cool advantage of the crosscut sled, is this is a very small piece, and you get to have this backing board. Other cool features of the crosscut sled, as I talked about, I got these clamps here. Which I'm not using for this, but having the clamps, having the T-tracks if I want to do a different type of clamp. And then I got a T-track rail here, which also gives me a stop block. And the one that I bought was just a little bit too tall. It wasn't tall enough for the size of this thing I was doing. So I just bolted on this board to make it exactly kind of flush. But it's lined up, has a little measuring tape here I put on it, and a T-track on the top. And that allows me to set my distance really easily. And then you have this little block here, which is the danger block. That way, if the saw blade comes out the back, it keeps your fingers away from it. And just kind of a little bit more safety. And there's rails on the bottom, which allow it to go through the normal T grooves of a table saw. And yeah, that is my Cross Cut Sled, there's a bunch of different designs online. I think you can even buy them, but they're not that complicated to make, and you can add some really cool features. Like I wanted T-tracks, I had to have a measuring tape and a stop block, and then the removable insert is really nice, so you have much finer pieces. And some people have put vacuum attachments on it, sometimes on the danger block on the front or on the back. I didn't do that with this one. I didn't want to have to deal with the hose moving as I move the Cross Cut Sled back and forth, and I already have a vacuum attached to the back of the table saw. So I don't have two vacuums, I don't have a hose splitter, so it didn't really fit my use cases, but I've seen it done. It's pretty common. And you can make whatever size you want to fit whatever pieces you happen to be working on, or the size of your saw. So it's one of those things that's a little bit more difficult to mass produce, because people might want to play around with the measurements or the features they need. Like, I'm sure you can buy them, but you know, people that are making them, people that have table saws, are pretty inclined to make their own already, because you will have what you need to make it is the saw you're making it for. Same thing with like push sticks and a bunch of other stuff. There's commercial tools, but a lot of people kind of do their own thing. But hope that was informative, and thanks for watching.